is Rashid Elsheikh, who was a Sudanese anti-war activist. Over to you, comrade.
Thank you very much, Liberation and Unison, for availing this sort of much needed opportunity to explain the forgotten war in Sudan. The recent toll calculated from the start of the war in 2003 up to this moment is over 500,000. Since the 15th of April 2023, 150,000 in all places. The war, this civil war, actually, it is a civil war. It is a nihilistic type of conflict between the hijacked military high echelon by the Muslim fundamentalists who've been governing Sudan for 30 years, since 1989 up to the December 2019 revolution, who toppled the despotic regime of the Muslim Brothers in Sudan and instigated an interim civil sort of authority with a branch of the military who actually claim that they have sided with the revolution, but actually they are the remnants of the security group of the Muslim Brothers, which is headed by El Burhan, who is now the de facto military dictator in Sudan. So from 2019 up to the war that broke in April 2023, in the middle of that, the civil organizations, the political parties and the trade unions, and because they have been under siege for 30 years, their tactics and their powers and their networking was completely, weakened. So the Muslim deep sort of state crept back again, and they took over the stage. The military was actually helped by a rogue militia called Janjaweed. It is a criminal groups who are really ransacking Darfur, and people live on the loots that they take from the people there. Omar al-Bashir, the dictator of the Sudan in that period, sought help from this group, organized them and armed them in order to be like a buffer zone between the Islamic regime and the rebels in Darfur, in Blue Nile, who are really seeking a diversity in government and seeking a freedom and peace in Sudan. So we use them as stooges to fight the war. Then, when he's toppled, they were being part, actually by law, they have been part of the official military setup. So they governed together with the military from 2019 until April 2023, where the military, with the sort of push and shove from their surrogates, the Muslim Brotherhood, wanted to keep them away and control the country and bring it back to the path which has been terminated in 2019. That is why they started fighting between each other. No one of them is actually fighting for the slogans of the revolution. They are fighting for a foothold for what they believe is their prerogative. The Muslim regime there, the old one, and it is all the deep state want to come to the scenery once again. And this Janjaweed, Dagalo, and the other sort of warlords, they have actually tested power and wealth. They are controlling the gold, and they're controlling everything there. So, and they're working as pawns for some outside regional and international powers. The UAE is actually the major financier of the militia. Turkey, and funny enough, Russia and Iran are siding with the regime, the military power. There is some other countries with interest, but they don't want to show their faces in the sort of theater, so they're working clandestinely. Some Western countries, including UK, are actually supplying arms to both sides. This is a bold claim, but we have evidences for that. Of course, United States of America has fingers, or it is fingers, in everywhere, especially there. They're using the carrot and the stick sort of tactics. The major reason why China is involved as well, because of the Silk Road, as we can say, the Red Sea is going to be the most important water passage in the coming decades. So the Silk Road coming from China to Port Sudan, the Red Sea, and they're planning to build a railway from Port Sudan to Dakar at the end of Western Africa. Turkey has got a claim there. Iran want to be there in the Red Sea. Of course, the United States wanted to be there as well. Russia and China. So Sudan is like a ping-pong table. It is geopolitical position actually draws these maladies, because it is in the middle of Africa, bordered by 7 countries with problems, economical, social, and things. So whatever happens in Sudan might spill over, and they wanted a stable, fertile, domicile continent in order for them to milk and siphon the wealth there. So the war in Sudan is not just a civil war, and it is so complex. Now they are trying to like seed some or put some time bombs there, ethnicity, religion, affiliation, because I mean when the maps of the African countries is drawn, it's just on paper, because many of the border population are actually divided by a fictitious line, but the tribes are here and there, from the north, east, south, and west. And when the SH hit the fan, those people come to help each other because of that strong bond of tribal, ethnic, and religious sort of bonds in that area. So whatever happens in Sudan is not going to stay in Sudan. And whatever happens in the neighboring countries is spilling over there, and it has its resonance and it is echo in the internal. So if I can give like a picture, since 2003 when the war started there, the number of people killed during that period is actually like 7 times the number of people being killed in Ukraine, twice the number of people in Palestine since 1948 up to now. Proportionately, what happens in Palestine is a very large magnitude compared to the number of the people there and the country itself. Sudan was 1 million square miles with 48 million inhabitants. So when you talk about over 500,000 in that period, it looks like a tiny thing. Although this comparison is not taking away the importance of emphasizing the criminality that's happening in Gaza, happening in some other places in the world because of the imperialist sort of atrocities. What needed now, and I've got only 1.5 minutes, what needed now from everybody is, please don't leave Sudan is that corner, because the magnitude of the calamity befalling the people there, there is over 10 million people are on the edge of starvation in Sudan. And all of them are either internal displaced. About 2.5 million fled the Sudan into the neighboring countries in Chad, in Ethiopia, in Egypt, where they're facing a very horrible situation and actually a very brutal treatment over there. Even in Ethiopia, I've got a message this morning that about 6,000 people in the borders of Sudan and Ethiopia living for 30 days in a jungle without even being approached by either the humanitarian United Nations or whatever other organization or the Ethiopian authorities. And they are not allowed to enter any town or even to cross back to Sudan. So the situation is so dire and so dark, and there is no equivalent exposure in the media apart from the progressive organs. Thank you, Morning Star. They have few times highlighted the things that are happening in that part of the world. I wish I have time because I've got lots of statistics and background history, but we'll keep this for another time. Thank you very much. And we actually depend on spreading the word and putting the calamity of the Sudanese people under the limelight and pressurizing the authority and the governments here to first stop aiding the warring factor, secondly, to up their humanitarian assistance and use their clout to execute some sort of diplomatic pressures to stop the war right now, because it claims lives every moment, even while we're talking. Thank you very much.